Hi guys, welcome along to this Q&A. My name's Colin from TLGPE. Firstly, apologies for how long it's taken to get this done for you. We have been absolutely inundated here at TLGPE HQ to give PE coordinators in lots of schools around the country our assistance and getting them set up with TLGPE accounts and systems. So apologies, this is being recorded at 6 p.m. on Wednesday the 11th, so I have guaranteed that I'll get it done today. So here we go. We're going to just run through the questions that you guys put into the forum page, and I'll give you some answers, and hopefully they'll be useful. So question 1 and question 2, both from Joe B on Facebook. Any recommendations for a simple yet effective assessment framework and short-term user-friendly games, dance and gym plans, because we have lots of new staff and NQTs. Well, Joe, you have come to the right place. TLGPE, apart from being brilliant and slightly late at giving advice on Facebook, we do have a system which schools purchase and use to plan, deliver and assess their PE curriculum. So this is a sneak peek of the TLG system. St. Catherine's is a made-up school. What it does, it allows you to load it with a long-term plan. That can be something that you already in place or that we provide for you to fit the curriculum guidelines. And the site includes all the planning that you will need for your lessons. So whether you're year 1, year 4, year 5, year 6, you can go in, tag rugby year 4, you can look at what you're teaching, you can look at the games that form part of the lessons, and if you don't understand them, you can watch a video to tell you a little bit about them. You can assess the game, you can read the instructions. Lots of detail, making it as simple as possible for teachers to go out and teach PE. There's other things on there that are going to help you in the delivery side of it. There's lesson summary documents which show you how to set the lesson up, how to change the space for each component of the lesson, what the learning objectives are, coaching points, what equipment you need. So, you know, really kind of simple stuff to give you exactly what you need for to be able to teach PE. Lots of waggles, what a good one looks like, some SEND stuff if you've got SEND children, lots of detail, lots of stuff that will give you everything you need to go out and teach PE. So hopefully something like this would give you and your NQTs all the confidence they need to deliver a really good, outstanding PE curriculum. So then looking at the assessment side of it, the assessment is linked to the planning. So all you have to do is go into the assessment and literally change the block. So if you've got an iPad, this can be done out in a lesson, and then you just save the progress. Very, very simple. What that allows you to do is produce loads of really fantastic MI that your school can then use to highlight how well you're spending your funding. So this is what your head teacher is going to be using to go to governors. When Ofsted come in and say, show us the improvements you've made, show us the impact you've made from your PE and school sports spend, you're clicking on a few buttons on here, you're producing high and low achiever reports, you're looking at boys against girls, looked after being none, more able being none, disadvantage, EAL, etc, etc. So loads of assessment, all the assessment is tracked to the planning. So the year group planning is set for a specific learning objectives, and those learning objectives are then input into the assessment model, and you mark the children off and you get this fantastic MI come out the back. So yeah, I'm going to just say that, you know, that's the system for you, Joe. You can get a free trial at www.tlg-pe.co.uk, or just drop me an email or comment and we'll get you set up. And you can also inquire about a walkthrough, so we'll do something similar to this where we share the screen and we show you through what you need to know. Okay, number 3. So Amy Louise Richardson, gymnastics equipment list essentials. Right. So Amy, first things first, mats. We're talking the 6-7 foot mats by 4 foot, probably about an inch thick. As many as them as you can get into your hall. Worst case scenario, probably one between 4, one between 3, one between 5 at a push. So somewhere between 6 to 8. they're going to be used a lot in gymnastics. They're going to look after your rolls. They're going to look after your balances. They're just going to give you that little bit of safety element. Secondly, you need something to jump from, to dismount from, so you're looking at a stack of tables. They're generally come in packs, so you can get 4 different sizes as the children get older. They're really useful, and they stack really well. Just from a space saving point of view, they tend to go under each other. Benches, most people already have benches, but if you can get the ones with the lips on the end of them, so they'll have sort of a flapping bit that you can then attach to tables, which gives you options there. And I guess the only other thing as a sort of real must-have is some sort of link to the tables. So you might have a balance beam that can link between the tables. You might have what looks like the top of a bench that can link between the tables. Things like that are really good for just balance and travel. Then you're going into the realms of sort of wish lists and what you would like and what would be useful. So 3 things really that we sort of next stage recommend. One of them is a springboard. If you haven't got one, they are really useful, and with a springboard you probably need a crash mat. And finally, not everyone sort of has these or knows about them, but you can buy roll wedges. They are foam, a bit like soft play kind of foam that you would get at a soft play centre. They look like a slice of cake, triangular, and they are very, very good for teaching forward and backward rolls. So they're very, very useful when you're teaching more complex rolls. To have something like that, they're very good from a safety point of view. I wouldn't worry too much about wall equipment, ropes, ladders. Most of the stuff that you can do on a wall equipment you can do on freestanding. Additionally, you might want to look at sort of rhythmic gymnastics, so ribbons, balls, hoops. But as a fundamental gymnastics list, if you can go with the tables, the mats, the benches and the linkers, and then if you've got a bit extra money to spend, springboards, crash mats and wedges. Right, next one, question 4. Short bursts of exercise for in class to achieve 30 minutes of planned exercise a day, Joanna Elizabeth. Right, so I guess you're looking at this from sort of one or two ways really. You're either looking at the wake and shake type thing, or you're looking at the daily physical activity like at the daily mile. So we'll cover them both. Wake and shake, the best kind of thing at the minute for in classrooms that we're recommending is the Joe Wicks stuff that he's putting onto his YouTube channel. So Joe Wicks, the body coach, is doing some specialist HIT sessions for primary school children. So you can go onto his YouTube channel, whack it onto your screen in class, and get the children doing some sort of concise HIT sessions, which is great. Alternatively, you can look at perhaps dance as an option. So things like on the TLG site, we have some dance units of work. Again, loading them up onto the big screen and getting some aerobic dancing going on in class is quite a good idea. Taking them outside the classroom, then really you're looking at things like the daily mile. So if you don't know, the daily mile is just that. You go out every day and you walk, run, skip, jump a mile. It's a whole school project generally. We think the daily mile is brilliant here at TLGPE. The only thing we've kind of thought about it is that it sometimes can lose a bit of focus. It's something that you don't really want to be timetabling in. It's something that you should do when you feel the need to do it. So if you're in a lesson and the brains are starting to get a little bit frazzled and the tempo has dropped and the energy levels are quite low, that's the time to get the children dropping pens, going out, having a little bit of a brain break, a bit of fresh air in the lungs and re-energizing themselves. So if you're going to do daily activity, you know, my big advice to you is don't timetable it in. Don't say we're going to go out and do it every after afternoon registration. Do it when you feel you need to do it in a day, because there is always that opportunity. And the result you will get when you come back in and everyone's a little bit more energized will be fantastic. Again, because you know we are who we are, I will show you our system that tracks daily physical activity. So Steps to Summit is a daily physical activity system that currently comes free with the TLG site. That won't last forever, so you need to act quick on that one. The Steps to Summit site is a purchasable system. It is not an annual subscription, so it's a great use of some of your funding because it is sustainable forever and a day. You're not going to have to pay for it again. What the Steps to Summit system does is it allows you to track your class's activity, so that every kilometre, step, mile they do takes them further up the summit of a mountain, towards the summit of a mountain. So each year group does one of the 7 Summit Challenge. The 7 Summit Challenge is the 7 highest mountains on each continent. So year 3 do Kilimanjaro, the highest mountain in Africa, and they spend their whole year climbing the mountain. So the project is a lot about resilience, about adventure, about opening their eyes to the world around them, but also about getting out each day and getting a little bit closer to the top. To bring the project to life, there's a whole heap of classroom resources that come included with it. These have been written by teachers who work here at TLGPE. They are aimed at the year group for the curriculum. So year 3 lessons are all about Kilimanjaro, they're all about Africa, but they're in line with year 3 curriculum requirements. The Scottish version of the system is in line with the Certificate for Excellence, so you've got P4, P7, whatever lessons. So this is a great little system. The best thing about it, or my personal thing that I love about it, is it allows the teachers to engage with parents, to make this process a whole family thing. So what we're encouraging parents to do via the system is to go out with their kids and add a few miles or add a few kilometers onto their total, push them a little bit further up the system. So parents can log into their account, they can add their child's data and they can push them a little bit further up, and the teacher can communicate with the parents through the system. They can talk to them, they can show them what they're doing in school, and the parents can comment from the other end, and it makes a whole project so much better, and it allows that little bit more focus to stay on the project rather than just being something that fizzles out. So I hopefully, Joanna, that's answered your question. A couple of options there for you to look at. Question 5, last one, how can we raise the fitness levels of the children in our school, and what are the best ways of measuring it? Nikki Knight. Right. Nikki, you've got a few options with this. You, from an Ofsted point of view, and we don't like talking about from an Ofsted point of view because obviously we want to be looking at it from the children, so from your point of view, but Ofsted are saying that you have to be able to track improvement when you're looking at PE and school sport spend, and you have to be able to track impact. So we do have to sort of look at a start and finishing point. I think fitness is always a difficult one. I've heard of some projects where people are weighing and measuring children, and that doesn't sit overly comfortably with us. So what we look at is actually physical assessment of something and then the same thing later down the line. So that might be athletics, it might be something like time in a 50-meter sprint in year 3, in year 4, in year 5, in year 6, standing long jumps. It might be looking at something like the Steps to Summit system and showing that kind of ability to walk a mile a day, then walk 2 miles a day, 3 miles a day. One of the things I will just show you very quickly, because how you do this is up to you, whether you use a system or whether you do it manually, is on the TLG system, just head back to that one, on the assessment side of it, when we look at the assessment that we put in, each year as part of the unit of work we look at athletics, and in the athletics unit of work we do a triathlon, so we do a 50-meter sprint, a standing long jump and a vortex throw. And then what the system does is it tracks that performance year on year, so it shows us the improvements that children are making. So for example, Ari Scott, year 3, 12.12 seconds for the 50-meter run. By year 6 that was down to 10.58, so you can see the improvement. You could track that manually, you don't need a system for that, but it makes it a lot easier because this gives you then the school average, so you can see how each child compares to the average, which gives it a little bit more meaning. And this data is great for then taking into maths and looking at mean, median, mode, average times, quickest times, slowest times, the difference between the two, etc. So fundamentally, whatever you do to improve fitness, it's the tracking, it's that measuring and looking at then children against each other to see who's making the biggest improvements. Again, you want to be looking at, when you are raising the fitness levels, looking at the most inactive children, looking at the ones who are perhaps not as engaged in PE, and perhaps putting on Change for Life clubs, getting them involved in some extracurricular activity. But again, it needs to be measured, and I think the best way to measure it, Nikki, in answer to your question, is starting and end point. So if you think of like the bleep test, you know, you would do it in week 1, you would do it in week 12, that kind of approach. Maybe a little short fitness test in week 1, star jumps, burpees, shuttle sprints, speed bounce, things like that, and then in week 12, week 6, whichever way you want to do, and just measure the impact that way. So if you've got a system that will record it, great. If not, you can pen and paper it. That's up to you. So hopefully that has answered the questions. Apologies again for the delay in getting this to you. If you have any questions, you need any help at any point, you can comment through the Facebook page. You can go through the group. You can email us. You can message us through our website. You can give us a ring. We are here all day, every day, supporting subject leaders and teachers. You don't have to use any of our systems to ask advice. You know, we just want all teachers to be comfortable teaching PE and to just get a little bit of their work-life balance back and have one less thing to worry about. So if we can help in any way, please do not be afraid to ask. So signing off, enjoy the rest of your evening, and hopefully speak to you soon. Thank you.